Hey everyone, it is Abby. Thanks for popping in tonight. Hope you guys are doing well. Tonight we have a little bit of a different topic, which is always welcome. So please send in your emails, haute.abby@gmail.com. And don't forget that we will read your email and you'll get my response right here on our channel. This evening we have a gentleman writing in about leagues. He had some questions about my Axe League and mentioned some about a bowling league with some information on that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. It says, "Hello Abby and all the fellow YouTubers on the Abby Haute channel. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Once again, I thought I would stir the pot from the usual smoking fetish or Dear Abby subjects. Sorry, Abby, that was just little Archie Bunker humor. It's all good. I think it's cute. Some of you may recall that, other than Abby herself, I talked or emailed, if you will, about something else other than the usual. If any of you recall, it was about technology and it's becoming a bit too overboard compared to past years. It seems the response to this turned out better than usual. As for Abby's videos, she made at least one or two about her league throwing axes, aside from her one video where she went to see Jeffafa, the other white meat. I don't know about the rest of you, but I am at least slightly intrigued about how a league throwing axes works. How the game is scored, how many people comprise a team, and finally, how long such a league lasts per season. I wonder if it's like a golf league, where there are flights, courses, and handicaps involved, in addition to teams and how long a season is. Perhaps she can do some more videos about her league and how well she and her teammates are doing or have fared in her league. If it's over for the season, I'm just a little curious." We'll step into that in a little bit. There's another type of league that yours truly is very familiar with, but sadly is less common today than it was many years ago. This type of league involves a game that is very unique compared to other games. Some regard the game as a sport, but others, no. What exactly makes this sport different than, say, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, tennis, or golf? It's the only sport where holes must be drilled into the ball in order to use it. Also, oil must be applied to the surface where this ball is delivered. Plus, it's a perfect and very trite example of too much technology. I'm sure at this point, just about everyone knows the sport I'm referring to. For those that need just one more clue, a couple of kids by the name of Brad and Kyle have their very own YouTube channel. You can just type in Brad and Kyle right here at YouTube, bring up their channel, then search within their funniest video titled Freezing Ice Bath Challenge. Or Abby might be able to put up a direct link. I'll post the link. Hopefully, you watched this video in its entirety before returning here, even if this hint already struck you before watching it. Aren't these kids a hoot? You'll see they have plenty more videos where that came from. A lot of them are funny, some of them are educational, maybe even inspirational to some. Of course, they focus on the game itself, as well as life on the Professional Bowlers Association / PBA Tour. Even if you're watching a bowling junkie, you could binge on watching all their videos and still not get through them in just one day's time. Of course, there's plenty of other bowling and related YouTube channels. Inside Bowling, PBA Bowling, Darren Tang, The House, USBC, etc. But we'll just stick to B&Ks for simplicity. Okay, now we're all on the same lane. So that's what's the dealio with bowling and too much technology. Has anyone noticed all those ugly black bowling balls on the house racks are now long gone? Now those house balls are different colors. Why is that? That has to do with the change in bowling technology and somewhat explaining just why those PBA bowlers in that video seem to be getting a lot of bionic strikes, crushing or scattering those pins all over the place. Of course, just like the past, they don't always get strikes, but the reasons for that have changed just a little. For many years, bowlers used hard rubber bowling balls, right up through the early 1970s, even the pros. Many people who bowled regularly used just one ball, period. Up until then, the only reason a pro would have two is just in case something happened to the first. My, how times have changed. It was right about then that plastic and soft rubber bowling balls were widely developed to help grip the lane better, having better hitting power through the pins on those strike shots. About a decade later, in the early 80s, urethane bowling balls were developed, followed by reactive resin bowling balls just a decade after that. It was about then in the early 90s that most centers did away with those ugly black rubber house balls and replaced them with plastic ones, not only of different weights but different colors as well. It was also right about then that both the soft and hard rubber balls were eliminated, no longer made by any ball manufacturer. Other than serving as today's house balls, the only other reason why plastic bowling balls exist in a bowler's arsenal today is to serve as a spare ball, almost exclusively used for spares. Other than people needing a house ball or mainly for picking up spares, the only other possible reason a plastic bowling ball would be used is if all the oil was burned off the lane due to excessive friction caused by those newer bionic resin ones. So what gives with these new bionic balls? Unlike bowling balls, which came before, these reactives actually have resin mixed in with the urethane cover stock, making these new balls more porous. If a piece of cover stock from such a ball was put under a microscope, pores can be seen, just like pores in your skin. These new balls suck up oil from the front part of a bowling lane faster than George Thorogood can suck down one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer. Holy mackerel, Andy Varipapa. These new balls also behave differently as they travel from the foul line to the pins. Pre-Resin tech balls would skid through the front part of the lane, then go into a roll in the mid lane, then finally hook at the back part of the lane on through the pins. These new bionic ones, first they skid through the heads just like before, but then they hook on the mid lane, then go into a roll in the back part of the lane through the pins. Sounds really confusing, doesn't it? All right, we're going to pause there for a minute. Sorry, I'd have to take a drink. Oh, last one. No. All right. Well, what's happening with the resin ball is it begins to skid where it sucks up oil from the front part of the lane. Then in the mid lane, these balls are storing up energy in a transitional rotation phase as it travels towards the back end, hopefully building to a crescendo right about the time the ball leaves the mid lane where the oil pattern ends, then approaching the pins in its strongest rotational state to virtually mow down the pins with almost no chance of any pins left standing. As you might guess, scores are absolutely higher everywhere, even amongst the best elite level bowlers in the world. At the house level, in particular here in the US, the scoring pace is much higher in those standard leagues when compared to elite level competition such as the PBA and Team USA. The game or sport has become more about navigating the lane conditions to mow down the pins frame after frame, as opposed to just carrying all 10 pins for a strike in just one particular frame, one frame at a time. Definitely more scientific than sporting when compared to those years prior to the early 1990s when reactive balls were introduced. There were numerous pros back then that either really struggled to stay on tour while others were sent packing. No joke. Geez, oh Pete Weber. Believe it or not, I haven't hardly scratched the surface of all the intricacies of the game as it exists today. Not in the slightest. There's way more than what I just covered here. Egads, right? PBA charter member and Hall of Famer Carmen Salvino has said not only do you have to be a killer on those lanes, you have to be a supercomputer to be a success at this game's highest levels. Trust me, he's not just whistling Dixie. So what do you all think about this game as it is today? Do any of you believe the game is better with increased technology and scores? On the flip side, are there any sport purists like yours truly that believe this game has gone in the wrong direction, sacrificing sport for science, particularly after Resin came out? I believe the sad truth is, while little has changed about what a bowler needs to do behind the foul line, there is absolutely a steep learning curve about what needs to happen beyond the foul line in order to be successful, especially at the game's highest levels. One thing is for sure, in that it's strongly recommended today to shoot much higher, much straighter at spares than in past years. when the old 369 off the strike line system was typically good enough for an 80 to 90% spare conversion rate. For those here that found this subject too boring, I apologize, my bad. For anyone else, let's hear it. What are your thoughts? Even if it's only about the ice bath challenge and nothing else, please feel free to chime in. Steve. All right. Well, Steve, that was a lot of information about bowling. I know that one of our viewers, subscribers, Gary, he bowls and he gives us his scores every week. I wonder if Gary, if you're out there watching, chime in with anything you've learned. Do you have one of these resin bowling balls? How long have you been in your bowling league? Do you like all the changes that have come about with bowling? I personally am not a huge bowler. I bowl for fun because hitting a score of 100 in a game of bowling is like a major accomplishment for myself. I will admit. However, I do have some family members that are in bowling leagues. They were in them in high school. They still participate in them now. So that thoroughly enjoy bowling and are really good at it. Yeah, those are the times when I don't have nearly as much fun going bowling with them because, yeah, I suck bad. I'm probably one of those bowlers that needs the bumpers at the sides of the lane. And the little kiddie roll thing, you know, the little stand that little kids put the roller on. Yeah, that's me. I need that. With regards, so anyway, Steve, thank you for all that information. That was very interesting. I guess I noticed, like, when you go to the bowling alleys, the house balls, because that's what I use. Again, not an avid bowler here. The house balls I've noticed are no longer the black ones. They're the different colored plastic feeling ones, I guess. I don't know if they're resin or what they are, but I have noticed that over time. As far as my Axe League goes, you had some questions about that. Axe League, right when I started talking about Axe League was the first Axe League that I participated in. Because I didn't discover axe throwing until we were on vacation last summer, and we tried it and I fell in love with it, and so did my daughter, and we go together and we throw axes. With the leagues, they have the boards, they have the target set up like almost like, you know, the rings with the dartboard. The bullseye is worth 6 points, and then it's 4, 3, 2, and 1 as you go out of the rings, and then there's 2 small blue circles up off to the side on the right and left of the target, and they're smaller and they're blue, and those are worth 10 points. And they're just, the boards themselves are comprised of wood, probably like 2x6. Yeah, 2x4. No, I don't know. Sorry, not a wood person either, apparently. But they typically wet down the boards. They don't oil them or anything. So the boards are always kept wet. They spray them down. Helps the axes stick a little better. It does take some skill as far as throwing goes. Some people throw two-handed. Some people just throw with one. Sometimes we do double. Sometimes people hold the doubles together and throw them. Just depends on your comfort level and the rotation of the axe, how heavy the axe is. We went out and purchased our own axes to use that we had tried someone else's while we were at the league, and it was great. So we found out where they got theirs, and we went and got our own as well, because we really liked them. The weight was perfect, the size, the handles and everything were great. We do sharpen our axes every week before a league to make sure that they stick well into the wood. As far as teams go, they have it set up where we go. They have it set up as individual scores. We do 2 rounds with 20 throws each. And we add up the scores that way. And then we do, every week they had a different game, like a team game, and it was by lane. So whatever lane you were on, that was your team for the week. And, winners of that got extra points. It was like all individual. But if you were on the winning team for that, you got the extra, everybody on your team got the extra couple of points for winning the team game, so to speak. We've done team games with, they sprawl out balloons on the board. And we throw the X's that the first team to pop all the balloons. I know it doesn't sound difficult, but sometimes it's a lot harder than you would think. They've done games like that. They've done like the, I'm trying to think of that dart game where you have to hit so many of each number so many times. Oh my gosh. The name of it is totally failing me right now. But either way, they do several different games. We did try, they had like daggers, knife throwing. That was really fun. The sound of the dagger hitting the wood and sinking into the wood as opposed to the axe. I don't know. It was a pretty cool sound. But either way, basically, and it was an 8-week period, and over the 8 weeks, they compiled your score every week. The last week was single elimination tournament. Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience how that went this last session, because I had a family member's choir concert to go to. So that was a little more important to me to be at that than to be at the X tournament. So we did that. So our leagues are going to be starting up again here, and it's another 8-week session, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll let you guys know how it goes with tournament at the end. With all of that said, that's all I've got for you guys tonight. I wanted to give a shout out to you, Stephen McKay. Thank you for writing in another great, interesting topic. And Tony White. Hey, Tony, thanks for being here. We will see you all very soon. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, help our community grow. Leave your comments in the comment section. We'll see you guys real soon. Bye.